Hey, what's up? This is the morning,
This is Monday morning.
and this is the morning momentum. And I am Richie, and I am the founding and lead pastor at Movement Church, Tipp City, Ohio. And this is
Ethan Smith. I am.
the man, the myth, and the legend.
That's me. I yeah, help out around Movement Church, and I'm doing this podcast.
He's the man.
I'm excited.
This is gonna be fun,
Mm-hmm.
dude. So, a lot of cool things happening, and
Cool things like the weather, because it's cold outside.
oh my gosh, it's freezing.
I just looked at the weather before we started, and it's like 14 degrees outside
That sucks.
on
like,
Monday morning.
mm.
So
Not
wear
away.
a coat. Make sure you wear your coat. We don't want anybody catching a little cold.
Unless you're on the West Coast, then don't get too hot.
Maybe. I've never been, so I wouldn't know. The whole thing could just be made up. It could
Dude,
be cold,
we've been to Phoenix.
I guess.
I'm just saying. Hey, we are going to talk about over these next, who knows how long. I don't even know.
Could be a week.
Could be
years.
years. I don't know. I'm just kind of letting it up to the Lord. But like, we're going to be talking about this idea called a thin place. You ever heard of those before?
I have.
Yeah, it's really cool. Like,
I heard it. I don't know. My pastor's been preaching about it.
what up?
Yeah.
Yes.
You've been preaching about it. But I have heard about it before. Before that, at some different like conferences and things like that, and people talked about it. Yeah.
It's the coolest thing. Like, it's that whole idea that where heaven and earth collide, and like it's such a small space where like you can just sense the heavens. Like, it's the coolest thing.
Mm-hmm.
I've experienced times like that where it's just like you could just feel the Holy Spirit in a way that you've never felt before moving, or like, and it just like your worlds just collide, and it's like one of the coolest things ever. You ever had one of those experiences?
I have had that experience.
Yeah.
It's very unique, and
Mm-hmm.
it's something I'll probably never forget.
Yeah, I think it's awesome, and that's the thing. Like, a thin place, you know, it's not the same place for everybody. Like, some people, like, if you Google it, it's going to tell you like a thin place is in Israel. Like, it makes sense, right? Jesus was there chilling.
Mm-hmm.
Chilling.
I've never been to Israel.
Me neither, but I would love to go.
Yeah.
Spring break.
Cool.
Spring break
Spring
23.
break trip to Israel. Stuff you never hear.
Yeah, the beaches of the Dead Sea. Let's go.
Yeah,
I don't know. Anyways, I think they have beaches. Yeah, they got beaches there.
they do. I want to go to the Dead Sea.
Yeah, I think it'd be kind of cool.
I
Be
think-
salty. You're already pretty salty.
I know.
But
I just want to float.
just
I've never been able to float on my back in a pool. And I think the only way I can achieve that is go to the Dead Sea. That's
how
it.
disappointed would you be if, like, the time that you go, the pH level is off and, like, there's not much salt in the water for some reason out of nowhere, and it's just like, shoo,
It would have to be a sign of some sort.
be full disappointment. Like, I'm never floating again.
I've never floated for the first time. So.
I've never tried this again.
Yeah.
But that's what's up. But that's like, it's so cool to think about that idea because, like, I can think of different times in my life where, like, it was so close. Like, there was a conference we went to one time. It was called Nazarene Youth Conference, NYC for short. And, like, there's moments, like, when you're surrounded by, 12, 13,000 people and just worshiping their hearts out. Like, there's just something about that area and just what you can feel in the room. And times like that, I've been to like different worship concerts and worship nights where it just like the heaviness of the Spirit is just unreal. Like, it's one of the coolest experiences you can have. You know what I mean? And so we're talking a lot about this and the different things that can happen. And the whole reality of it is it comes down to this one idea. And sometimes this can be kind of a dirty word in the church, is the idea of supernatural.
Scary stuff.
It is. Like, because you get into this whole idea and concept of the supernatural, and what do people immediately think of?
Well, a couple different people. Either this TV show.
TV show. Never watched it.
Supernatural.
I've never watched
I haven't either.
Yeah, I don't think I want to.
But it would be like
Scare
a
me.
fandom kind of thing.
Mhm.
Or like Ghost Adventures.
Mm.
Like that kind of scary.
Setting the
spooky
cameras up?
Ghost. Yeah. Paranormal Activity.
Hey, like Christmas time, Kristen took a picture with a filter of our family, and right above Peyton was this black dot.
I don't want to be someone to speculate, but I don't think that is the Holy Spirit. A black dot.
I don't know. I don't know what's going on there. I think she had her finger over the lens, but I'm not gonna argue that. But
I have to call someone in and debunk it for you.
Mm-hmm. Set up cameras all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Man, we have cameras in the church. How cool would that be? Like, I don't know. But anyways, I'm going away from that. But the supernatural, like, it's kind of a bad word. Like, people are like, I don't want to talk about that. But the reality of it is that even God works in the supernatural. Like, it's the whole idea of supernatural is the fact that you can't explain it physically through science or through logic, pretty much, you know? Like, and so a lot of the things that God does over and over and over again can't be explained by science. I think that's one of the coolest parts about how God works. And a lot of times we can't even put words to how it is that he's worked in our lives. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I do know what you mean.
I'm glad you know. Like, that's good to know. You know, I think of there was a specific instance where my son had chronic kidney disease, was really sick, had all these surgeries, and all these different things happened. And at one point in his life, it got to this point where the doctors were like, he's going to have a transplant, he's going to have a rough life, he's going to be on dialysis, all these different things, like laid all these things out, and everything is just trending down. And then all of a sudden we go back 6 months later, and in that 6 months time, people have been praying more, we had been praying more, he had been praying more, like all these different things. And out of nowhere, we go back to the doctor expecting just to hear, oh, okay, things are still trending downward. And he was like, I need to redo some blood work. And so he redid some blood work, and he did some labs, and he did another scan, and he comes back and goes, look, I can't even explain to you the fact that he doesn't even have chronic kidney disease anymore. Like, all of his labs, all of his scans, like, we know what's happened. We know what's wrong with him. We can still see it, but everything else says this does not exist. And he looked at me, and I thought it was like one of the coolest things. He looked at me and he was like, hey, like, you're a man of faith. The only way this can be explained is by your God. I was like, that's the coolest thing.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. And so, like, God works in ways that I love it when doctors are stumped. Like, I don't even know what to say. I don't even know what to do. I can't explain this. It's like, yeah. I can explain it, you know? And so we think a lot about things like that. You know, when you really think about supernatural, you know, a lot of times, like you said, we relate that to, like, dark beings and things like that, and demons and stuff. But even the things that Jesus did, you know, we talked about in a past series or past message about the whole idea and concept of having peace. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's a hard thing to have. What do you think? I mean, seriously.
Yeah, peace it's something that's difficult to have. It seems like more so, well, for me, it would be more so today, but I know I wasn't alive all the time, so I wouldn't know back then. But today it's pretty hectic, and there's a lot going on. I'm in college, so I have a lot of classes, a lot of different things going on, and I have, like, schedules for all the different things, and I don't have anything scheduled out for peace. Like, it's just everything I need to do, but nowhere in there is a section for me to relax and have peace. And so I think it's something that's very important that we don't really take into account.
I agree with you. Like, I think it's tough because when I preached this message, I actually, like, I was talking about something that God, like, gave me this aha moment on, where I was watching my puppy chase her tail. Shoo, shoo. And it was kind of this aha moment of, yeah, it's kind of what we look like as we're trying to look for and search for peace. Like, that's like the number one thing people say all the time is like, hey, what's going on with you? I am just looking for peace. Like, I need to find peace in my life. And, you know, they might use different words, but that's really what they're trying to say. And it's like, do you have a relationship with Jesus? Yes. Guess what?
It's going to blow your mind.
This is the craziest thing ever. Guess what one of his names is? The Prince of Peace.
Prince of Peace.
P.O.P.
P.O.P. Prince of Peace. Holding it down.
I like it.
I do too.
If you're on board with it, right now, hashtag something. Hashtag P.O.P. Prince of Peace. Let's go.
So when we hash, like, do you think that should be like all caps, or like there'd be like periods in between PO and P?
All caps. No. Capital P's, lowercase o.
Should we have periods?
Prince
Um,
of Peace.
That's good.
I like it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so
Hashtag
run with
POP.
that. Hashtag POP, the Prince of Peace. But like it's promised to us that he like resides within us. And I think that's really cool. And so like if he resides within us, then we're nothing but like a dog chasing after his tail, because that tail is a part of the dog.
Yeah.
They're just like, what is this? What is this? What is this? What's this thing that keeps following me? Where's it going? Where's it going? And we're kind of the same way. Like, where's the peace at? Anybody seen it? Like, is it behind the curtains? I don't know. Is it over there behind a rock? Like, where's it at? No, it's right here. Like, I think it's the coolest thing.
It's very cool.
I love it. I love it. And so, like, if we talk about that and we talk about these supernatural things, and we talk about these things that God did and all these different really cool miracles that took place, like, I love hearing not only about the miracles that Jesus did when he walked on the earth, but the miracles that he still does today. You know, we see things like the multiplication miracles. And, like, one of the most famous multiplication miracles, what would you say it is?
Multiplication, I would say the feeding of the 5,000.
I would agree with that. Like, that's pretty sweet. That's a pretty cool story.
It is.
You know, he takes little and he makes a lot. And I think too many
And
times.
it's food.
Yes. Man. Think about if that was like a baseball story. Like, he took a little bucket of baseballs and made it a bunch of buckets of baseballs. Like, I don't know. Like, come on now. I know some baseball coaches out there that wish that would happen. Baseballs are expensive, man. Did you know that?
I didn't, because I don't play baseball.
Yeah.
And I'm not a baseball coach.
They're expensive. A bucket of balls is like $100, and it's only like 15 balls.
You should just
Stupid.
go find them somewhere else.
It's usually what we do. Baseball season ends, you go pick them up out of the fields. Yeah, recycle them. But so you got multiplication. You have where Jesus can provide, and he provided time and time again in Scripture. One of my favorites is when Jesus tells his disciples, go cast the line, because they're like, hey, like, where am I going to get this money for the temple tax? And he's like, just go throw a line. The fish you catch, it's going to have gold coins in his mouth. Pay that way. Like, that's the craziest thing. How many times has Jesus said to you, think about this for a minute, like, go and do something like that, and you were like, yeah, it's crazy. Nah. Nah.
Yeah.
Fish don't swim around with gold coins. They'd sink. Unless they're in the Dead Sea.
I don't think you know how that works, but
I don't know. So, I am not a scientist, sir.
clearly we can move on.
Yeah.
But I don't think a fish would. Let's stay here for a second. Fish. I don't know if fish can sink like that unless, because even when they're dead, they float.
Ooh. Man, that's good. So
And
you're
they eat
telling
stuff,
me
so.
that a dead fish floats better than you?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, but if you're thinking about it, when the fish is alive, it doesn't float. I mean, I guess it could. But I guess we'll just have to wait and see when the time comes. Maybe I'll float. Hopefully we won't have to. Hopefully we'll wait a long time before we can see if I float when I'm dead.
Oh.
That's what I'm getting at.
I don't think I want to check that out. Like, that's not going to be like, I probably won't be here, but if I am, I'm not going to be like, throw him in the water!
Here's what we'll do.
See what happens!
Here's what we're going to do. We're going to move on, and we're going to get off this topic, and we're going to get back into what we're here to talk about.
Okay, we can do that. I'm good with that, man. Like, what about the healing miracles? You like those?
Mm-hmm.
I think those are cool.
You know, the one I like the most is when he uses his own saliva. Because I feel like I feel like at that moment he's like, it's so like, I could do whatever I want kind of thing. In a sense where it's like, you know, I'm just having fun with it a little bit.
Tell me, man, what did he do? What did he do?
He got some dirt,
Got some dirt?
spit on it, rode around, slathered it on some guy's eyes, and a miracle takes place.
Wax on,
Wax off.
eyes on. And I love that. I think that's a great story.
It is a good story.
And we see him resurrect not only his own life, but Lazarus and multiple other people. Like, the coolest things take place and happen. And then I love the fact that Jesus was always there to associate with people that were like deemed the untouchables, right?
Yeah.
Like I think that's like one of the hardest things with the church today is that so many times we label people as being untouchable. Like we can't minister to certain people, we can't talk to certain people, we can't love certain people because of choices they make. And Jesus counteracts that over and over and over again.
Yeah.
And I think that's the coolest thing. I mean, from dealing with the oppressed to dealing with racial enemies to dealing with the unclean and women and the poor and all these different things, you have to understand like these things were things that back then were very much you don't deal with, you don't talk to, you don't work with these people. And Jesus said, "Who's to tell me what I can and cannot do?"
Yeah.
And he showed us through those things the real meaning of love. And I think that's what it is. Like we've talked about this over and over and over again. The whole meaning behind being a follower of Jesus Christ is he sums it up into two things. He sums it up to love God and to love others. And I just think too many times that we get caught up in our own opinions and our own agendas that we fail, if not at one of those, if not both of them.
Yeah.
That's scary, man. And so we talk about kind of the supernatural reality of things, and there's good stuff. Like those are the awesome things. Those are really stinking cool. But there's also some really cool things, but the reality of it comes in to be, and this is the one that I think a lot of people try to stray away from, is that there is a reality of good, which we just talked about, and evil, bad.
Yeah.
And that part nobody wants to talk about because number one, that says that there's a reality of there's a consequence. And number two, that also means there's a reality of something that you might have to face at some point.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think it's something like it's weird to think about. It's a good reminder because in like all areas, everything is about the amazing like what God can do and what he does for you, but no one ever talks about what can also happen to you and things like that. And I think it's a great reminder because if you're just focused on one side, are you really, believing in the whole thing? And is it really like a whole part of that? And so I think it's a really good reminder to remember that there's two sides of this. And, if there wasn't the bad side, then there would be no need for us to focus so much on the good side. And so I think it's a really good reminder to remember, that we have those two parts.
Oh, I 100% agree with that. And I'm going to tell you this. If you are listening to this right now, you're driving in your car, you're headed to work, it's Monday morning, it's cold out, you're dreading having to go in, you don't know what the day is going to look like, I need you to know something. Like, do not let fear hold you back today. I think that's one of the biggest things for us is that sometimes we're afraid to take that next step. We're afraid to talk to that next person or afraid to make that next move. Do not let fear control who you are today.
Yeah, that's good.
I think another one that we deal with often, especially on Mondays, man, maybe Fridays even more. It could be Friday even more, but distraction.
Yeah, Friday would probably be more of a distraction, I would say.
I think they're both distracting. One is distracting because you don't want to be there. The other one's a distracting because you want to go home and get the weekend started.
Also the same as not wanting to be there.
I think we can all agree it's every day you don't want to be there.
It's so, because it's like Monday's like, I just had the weekend, I don't want to do this, like I don't want to start the week, and it's really tiresome. And then Wednesday's like, ugh, it's only halfway, I want it to be done. And then Friday's like, I just want to get out of here. So there's 2 days out of the week that are like, they're all right. Because Tuesday's like, I'm in this right now, I just got to do it.
I'm committed to the week. I've started.
Yeah. Thursday is really just Friday Eve. Thursday's like, it's almost the weekend, and you're there, and you're just in a good mood.
I dig that. You know what?
We should just have 2-day weeks.
I can go that way. Or, like, they already think that about pastors, right?
Yeah.
1 day work week, pastors.
I wouldn't know because I'm not a pastor.
But the other part of this is this, like, I like Thursday. I like calling that Friday Eve now.
Yeah.
I might stick with that. I like it. It's kind of nice. It's kind of like, it's, Christmas Eve is cheery. Mm-hmm. New Year's Eve is cheery. You celebrate.
Friday Eve.
Let's go with it. Friday Eve.
I think it just makes you more excited honestly to do what needs to be done Friday because you know
I like it.
what it's bringing on.
Because it's Eve.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I like it. Okay, I'm good with that.
But we're not going to do Monday Eve
No.
because that would just make Sundays not fun, and they are
That
fun.
would be sad.
They're very fun.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Hey, I know you guys want to do it. Check this out. Like, I know on Mondays, this is the number one thing I want to do. Don't make excuses. Like, and I think sometimes that ties us back so much. And we make excuses about things like, I'm not good enough to make this type of thing happen, or I don't like the way that I sound, or I don't like the things that I do. And so it just seems to tie us down during the week because we get so full of excuses of why we can't make things happen. I'm going to tell you something right now. If you're listening to this, I want you to know you can make it happen. And you can make it happen in huge ways. Put your mind, change the way that you're thinking about it, change your perspective. And I'm telling you something right now. Today, you can conquer this Monday. You can conquer this day.
I believe in you.
I believe in you as well. We're proud of you.
Here's something.
Tell me.
Words of affirmation.
Oh, man, yes.
And that's what we're going to give you on Mondays and Fridays.
Maybe not so much Friday. Friday is Saturday Eve. But, no, I like it, though. That's good.
I don't know about Saturday Eve.
And Ethan's going to do acts of service for you. So if you need your house cleaned this week, go ahead and email us at esmith.
I don't know about that.
No?
But
Oh my gosh, like could you imagine how much better their day would get right now if you were like, I'm headed to your house right now to clean
I
it
can
for
tell
you.
you it wouldn't last long because then they'd see me painting their house and they'd be like, why did I
Why are
choose
you
to do
painting
this?
instead of cleaning? Like,
Why are you painting vinyl right now? Yeah, vinyl siding.
hey, when you want to paint vinyl siding, let me know.
I'd be using it would go bad because I wouldn't really be enjoying it and you wouldn't enjoy it and it would just take forever.
Moral of the story, Ethan's never cleaned his room before
I have cleaned my room.
with paint.
I just have not painted a house.
With
And
paint.
honestly, I don't really plan to. If you want me, you know what? Don't ask me to do anything for you because if you need words of affirmation and positivity, we can give that for you.
Yeah.
But painting a house, I'm probably not your man.
Well, this is what I'm going to say. You need to set your expectations right this week. And so what is your expectations for the week? I think that's the biggest thing right now we can talk about. Like, I love the idea of that. Like, what are your expectations for the week? Is your expectation just to get through the week? You know, you're in college right now. Is your expectation of your school week, is it just simply to get it over with, be done with it, move on? Or do you change your expectation and say, hey, my expectation is I'm going to rock this week. Like, I'm going to get the things that I need done, but I'm going to do so much more this week. I'm going to be able to meet with friends. I'm going to go to Bible study. I am going to conquer this week.
Yeah.
It's all about the expectation.
It
How do you
is.
set it?
Because if you're just working for the weekend or whatever, if you're just trying to get through the week and then you have your couple days of the weekend and then it's the same thing, like there's no really end to a week.
No.
Our calendar goes forever in case you guys didn't know.
Your work week doesn't end this week. It starts back up in 2 days.
That's
Just
true.
saying.
Yeah. Well, your work week is just starting this morning.
It is this morning, but you know what I meant. 2 days. You get
2
the
days a
weekend.
week. So
For some of you, it's Wednesdays and Sundays.
it's making the most out of your week because there's no point in waiting till next week to wait till the next week.
I got it, man. That's great.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm gonna tell you something else that goes along with this because I think this is so stinking important. You ready? Don't be afraid to fail. I gotta tell you that. Like the number one thing that I've learned over and over and over again, whether it was in sports, whether it was in soccer, whether it was in baseball, whether it was in ministry, whether it was in working in sales, I've done all sorts of stuff. You have to be willing to fail because you cannot grow and get better if you don't ever fail.
Yeah, I think that's really big. In order to fail, you have to try.
Yes. So when you set forth your expectations, expect it. Say, hey, look, I'm going to push so hard. I'm going to do some things this week that I usually don't challenge myself to do, but I'm going to do it. And if I fail, I'm going to take another step and I'm going to get better. and I'm going to push myself, and this is going to be a great week. So whether it's at work or whether it's you're pushing yourself in a new commitment to be going to the gym or something, if you miss that day, it's okay. There's always tomorrow. Man, even with your spiritual life. I mean, how many times do you like commit to say, I'm going to pray every day or I'm going to do devotions every day, and you miss that day, and then that's your way of going, man, I failed. Did you fail? No. You just had a minor setback.
Right.
You move forward.
Mm-hmm. I think one of the coolest things that I've heard, like you said before, and this kind of relates to us, but on a very large level that we can never relate to. But when Jesus died, someone said it was just a detour for him, which I think is so cool to think about, like, as, like, death, like, it was just a detour for Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
And so for us, you know, we're not dying, but we have these little setbacks. But if we have God in our hearts and that's our driving force, then those are just detours for us to get back on path.
I love it. And when I think about detours, check this out. Like, I think about there's so much craziness that goes on in this place sometimes. and I'm sorry, but I get distracted very easily. Do you remember we talked about that for a minute? Distractions, and it happens.
We got distracted during this podcast. We were talking about my death.
We did. We got distracted multiple times. You can expect that. But I have no idea where I was going with that. But I'm going to tell you something. I'm going to go home tonight. And I don't know why, but I just feel like it's one of those days that I need to make this happen. One of my favorite weird foods. Check this out. And I'm going to ask you here in a second because I got to share this. My wife hates it. All right? She thinks it smells bad. She thinks it's stupid. She doesn't understand it. But I'm going to tell you something. She hasn't lived yet because she hasn't had this. I take nacho chips, and I take provolone cheese and melt it on top. Provolone cheese, though. It's amazing. If you haven't done it yet, you need to do it.
Right. Well, that's just nachos. But I'm glad you brought this up to me because working in groups really gets creative flowing. If you put some pizza sauce on that, think about this. You get this pizza nacho.
So you got provolone cheese, some pizza sauce.
Yeah.
Maybe a couple pepperonis.
Sure. It's just like nachos, but Italian.
Italian nachos.
Italian nachos.
Oh, hot dog.
No, Italian nachos, not
Italian
hot dogs.
nachos.
Not hot dogs.
Dude, I could go for that. That's pretty sweet.
You should try it and let me know. And then I'll try it.
Next Monday.
Okay.
On the morning momentum. That's right, people. We're getting you ready for work. On the morning momentum, we are going to have Italian nachos.
And you're going to watch us eat them.
Or listen to us.
Or hear us eat them, yeah.
Or hear us. But
which
then you
honestly
need to
might
try
not sound, well, we're going to try and make it sound as good as possible. You know what we're going to do? ASMR.
Ooh.
And if you like that, stick around. If you don't, I'm sorry. It's going to be rough for a little bit because Italian nachos, what I can imagine, probably don't sound that great to eat.
But I think it's going to be good. I'm excited.
I think they'll taste good.
I think it's going to be awesome. So you need to join us. Make sure you join us right here Monday mornings. You can also join us Friday mornings.
That's right.
As we start and end the week with you. And I'm telling you what, if you've got questions, if you're hearing a sermon on a Sunday morning, you're like, hey, I got a question. We got to talk about something real quick. You need to shoot that over to us. And you can do that a couple different ways. You can drop us a line on Facebook Messenger. You can also go to our website at movementchurch.community/go. And you can type it in right there. Let us know what your question is. We'll get it. We'll talk about it right here on the podcast. But I think that's the best thing about something like this is that so many times on a Sunday morning, you just want to raise your hand and ask a question because you just missed something. You missed something in your notes or you didn't quite understand something, but it's weird and awkward to do that. Mm-hmm. And so I think it sets you up for a perfect time for that. And so if you've got anything that you want to ask of us and you want to ask, or if you want Ethan to come clean your house, drop us a line and we will get back with that on our Monday morning podcast. But Fridays is going to be a party.
Friday is going to be great.
Ethan is going to be karaokeing on Friday, and I cannot wait to hear what song that he has to bring to that. And I want to invite you out. If you do not have a church home, you can join us at Movement Church in Tipp City, Ohio, live, or you can even join us online at Facebook at The Movement 937. and 10:45
10:45.
a.m. And we cannot wait to get ready for that again.
I am really excited for Friday's podcast.
Oh, me too, man.
It's
Your
gonna be
karaoke
fun.
song is going to be
Now,
legit. He's
I
going to go
haven't
straight up
planned it,
Miley
and
Cyrus.
I probably won't plan it. So you're just going to have to tune in and see if I do karaoke.
Party in the
And
USA.
I'm going to catch myself there. I did just say doo-doo.
He did say doo-doo. And on that, we're going to close out today. We cannot wait to see you and talk to you and be with you Friday morning on your drive into work, 7 a.m. We'll see you then.
See you later.
Peace.